Now, before we go on, I would just like to say, if you had anything to do with the making of this show, cast, crew, if you donated, please stand up. An absolutely astounding number of people came out of the woodwork to help us make this because they just cared so much about it, and I cannot thank you guys enough. It was so thrilling to me, and I know Eric feels the same way, that that people just wanted to make this piece of entertainment and wanted to help us make it. Carrie was very bitter about the whole thing. She didn't want anybody's help. Kidding. And so on that note, I do want to introduce to my left Eric Loya, who is the co-writer and voice. And to his left, and also my left, Carrie Keranen, who played Piper Tate. And I want to talk a little bit about the background. I mean, a lot of people have heard my story, how the show got made, and a lot of you guys last year were here, so you kind of been on the ground level. But I'm kind of interested in hearing your guys' perspective on doing this. For instance, Eric, how do you? I know how you came, but I'd like to hear from your perspective how you came to be involved and do this. Talk really close, like.
I will tell you, Travis, into this microphone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Good.
Take it off the stand.
I'll take it off the stand.
But talk
Better?
really close.
Is that better? Can you guys hear me now? Okay. So Travis and I have had a kind of long working history for several years. And so we've done a couple of web series, or we've done a couple of web series before this one, and we've done sketches online, and we've kind of helped to build a YouTube channel and to kind of build our brand as entertainers. And then he got booked on Community, and he anticipated that there would be a lot of crossover. There's a lot of Community nerds. There's a lot of Doctor Who nerds, both of which we are as well. And he sort of anticipated that once the episode aired, with Spacetime for the first time, that it would really take off. That the internet would just kind of explode in some small way. And because he anticipated that, he contacted me after. Was it after he shot the episode, or just once he already got the script? I can't remember.
I was driving home from the shoot.
So after he shot the episode, before it aired, he contacted me and was like, "Hey, we should have something ready because people are probably going to be into this. People are probably going to want more content for this. So since we are going to do this anyway, let's make a web series, or let's write a web series." And I was like, "Okay." And Travis likes telling this part of the story because normally I'm very good at getting back to him right away, and we are very good with communication. In this case, I basically was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. I know enough about Doctor Who. I kind of have an idea of the sensibility of Community, and so this sounds like a really good idea. And then what he didn't know was that I started writing basically right away, and
we hadn't talked story, plot, characters,
and was out of touch with him for about a week. At which point he started getting kind of upset at me that I wasn't returning his calls, that I wasn't talking story, characters, plot, anything like that. And then so he finally called me a little bit upset and was like, "Hey, okay, so I've been thinking about it, and here's what I think we should maybe do, and maybe blah blah blah. But we need to talk. We need to figure this out because the episode's going to be airing soon, and we really need to have something ready." And it was because of that call that I then sent him an email and was like, "All right, well, I was going to send this to you tomorrow once I fine-tuned it and all that, but I guess I'll send you kind of a crappy first draft. You're welcome." And then so I sent that to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is good. Okay." So that from there we have sort of a pattern with our writing where I'll tend to write the first draft and then send it to him, and then we'll kind of fine-tune some things, and then.
Usually we talk story first, though. Usually.
And I wrote a character that was intended for me, and I also didn't tell Travis about that until I sent him the script. And then...
I did call him up and say, "This is a really great villain. I have someone, I don't know if you know him, but I think he'd be really great for it." and knowing that he wrote it for himself, which was brilliant of him too.
Travis is hilarious. And so yeah, I mean the major change from what I sent him to what ultimately became the script was that I actually, the first episode that I wrote was actually what ended up being the second episode here. So imagine if that had been the first episode. Maybe it would have worked, maybe it wouldn't have, but the idea was to just kind of plunk them right down in the middle of the adventure rather than kind of, setting up the adventure. Travis felt like it was probably pretty important to, in fact, have that set up. So we went back and wrote a new first episode, which then became the first episode there. And yeah, the rest, as they say, is the rest.
That is not what they say.
That's exactly what they say. Pretty sure
That's what he says.
That's what
Nobody says that.
I've never heard that in my
I've
entire
heard
life.
it both ways.
Same word.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree with you.
I don't agree with that. Carrie, Utah.
Hi. So I got involved actually really sort of late in the. Is that ginormous
It's in the way of the
head in the
camera.
way of the camera? That's weird.
Is it still talking?
That's
It's
so weird.
definitely in front of Carrie.
Hello. So I got involved later. I had met Travis. We're both performers, and I met him when I did a comedy piece about a woman who's on a date with a white man, a blind date with a white man, and she only dates black men, so she has a bit of a breakdown. And he thought I was hysterical. So then we got involved and knew each other for, I don't know, maybe almost a year.
Close to that, yeah.
Yeah, almost a year before this came up, and then he sent me an email and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing," and I was like, "What?" I showed up and auditioned and met Eric. Didn't realize he was actually playing boyish when I was reading with him. I was like, "Oh, you're pretty good at this role. It's a great reader." And then
We did only call in 6 women, by the way, and it was we only
very
people
small
we
pool,
Yeah.
and that's why I was able to win. See, I like to think about it. They read like 500.
No, it was that we were already
champion.
We were already picking the best of the best, and the people who we knew would be amazing. So you were the best of the best of the best.
It was funny that I actually was a complete spaz in the room, like a total spaz in the room. But apparently it didn't matter.
We have your audition tape somewhere.
Somewhere. Oh,
Not
God.
here. We'll put it on.
The director literally did not speak to me the entire time. He just stared at me, and at one point was like, they were like, "Well, do you want to say anything else? Or you have any questions?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, I fucking screwed that up." Oh, is this should be surrounded? We'll pretend it didn't
We can go
happen.
back in time and beep it out.
So that was it. So and then they were like, I remember like being on the phone afterwards, like talking to the guy I was dating at the time, being like, "Oh my god, you're so sure to sing! It was so much fun!" Walking down the Brea, and then a week later I got the call.
Cool. Yeah, it was.
Do you want to talk again, Eric? Did you want this line? Are you gonna say something nice about me? Okay.
Mary's audition was actually really, really great. It's a weird kind of situation, I think, when you're auditioning because we knew the script really well, and not only were we there when it was being written, but we had seen several women. We had seen several women coming in and reading the same material. So by the time Carrie came in, it was actually quite a feat that she genuinely made us laugh, and that she found kind of new nuances that we didn't even intend when we wrote it, and that nobody else had brought to it. And she was just wonderful. Like in the room, I mean, the character kind of evolved a little bit since the audition, but in the room, she had a very clear idea of what she was doing, and she nailed it. It was amazing. That's what I was going to say.
Do any of you guys have questions for these guys or me? I mean, I'll answer questions. I'm very
Travis
enthusiastic
will
about
always
this.
talk.
I actually am really excited about. I mean, I'm one of you guys. Like I come to conventions anyway. I'm a huge nerd, and so for me, it's really cool to talk to these guys about their experience. And but do you guys have any questions about? Let's talk about maybe the acting or the inception of this project. Everybody gets it.
How much of the stuff that like sprang up online after the first episode came up, all the background fan and stuff that came up, do you guys take from, or is that completely just the internet?
Okay, I love that because here's the thing. This whole thing exists because of you. like seriously, the Inspector Spacetime thing was a 15-second clip on Community, and fans took that. And we'd written the script before because we thought because they did some extra features for the DVD for Kick Puncher, and so I thought, and knowing that I was a fan of Community, knowing that they are into that, I thought there might be a good chance that they do extra features. I had no idea that fans would pick up on this and run with it the way they had. But there was such an explosion of untapped creativity on the internet around Inspector Spacetime. You guys created an entire history.
A 50-year history.
Of this show. Over the course of a weekend.
Plotlines, episode titles, and actors.
Actual episodes. People were writing scripts. And that is amazing. And what we do, there is a kind of recursive creativity about this. And I actually had something that I wanted to show you guys here. So, with this, fan-created universe, this is a slideshow that I put together. This is part of my pitch package. So I'm out there trying to pitch season 2 of the Untitled Web Series. I have to call it. You all can call it Inspector Spacetime. But fans were doing this kind of stuff. They cast all the previous inspectors, all 11, including a female inspector, that's the 5th, and a black inspector, that's the 10th, which is kind of cool.
And that is Travis up there in the upper left corner.
Up at the top there. And then, they were creating fan That's a cool bit of art. I like that one. That's one of my favorites that appeared on DeviantArt. Mashups. And I even have an action figure that I got to hold. That was so surreal. There's a fez, which we have up here. We're going to use it to draw the prizes out of. I met the guy who built that at a convention, and he just made me one. This is one of the first big posters that came out from Johnny Eveson. He did this poster probably within a week of the Community airing, and then he did a second one. And so I reached out to him and I asked him if he would do the official web series poster. So he designed that, which we do have them. We have them for sale because I have to give Johnny a cut. But I'm also going to give away one at the end. That's one. We're getting one of the. My words. One of each poster at the end here. But this is what really, we had the name change, and everybody was very supportive of that. If you haven't been on TV Tropes and looked for TV, the Inspector Spacetime Confessions or on Tumblr, seriously, it's amazing stuff what you guys are coming up with. There was one example that I love. Nerd Bastard did a story.
I'm a writer there.
Awesome. And they misspelled my name. No, it's awesome. So it gets better. I posted that to my Facebook, to the Facebook page, and I said, "Hey, it's a great article. Needs some editing." And then in parentheses, I put "Follow Tarvis." And in the comments of that, fans started this little thing about Tarvis. Follow Tarvis, and there was new artwork put out within a day. And then this happened. Someone created a character called Tarvis, who is a mechanical flying squirrel, who leads the inspector back to safety when he's in danger by saying, "Follow Tarvis!" And within 2 weeks of this popping up, we were due for another draft of season 2, and we wrote Tarvis into season 2. And it's just one of those things that is just, that's what I love. Fans, Circuit Chaps was a fan thing. The Optic Pocket Knife was us, and...
There's also, there's a couple of things, kind of the shorter answer to your question, is we had the bulk of season 1 written by the time people caught wind of Inspector Spacetime, so not a lot of the stuff that they came up with really got its way in there. That being said, we read all of the stuff, obviously, and also we contributed to quite a bit of it. The Inspector is of the race of Infinity Knights, and we actually came up with that. We got that kind of into the lexicon. The optic pocket knife, I'm not sure if we actually, I'm not sure if Travis or I actually came up with that, but that's definitely, we might have come up with that.
That was me.
And that's been accepted into it. And then, like the idea of the booth, always having room for one more, like we really like that idea, and that was from the fandom. So while that,
And also that the Inspector has no hearts, which on the face of it is a very, very simple, Doctor Who thing. But fans took that and went deeper with it, and that, because it takes care of the trope. I mean, the reason the Doctor has two hearts is so that he can almost get killed, and it had to be really serious. So we have that, if the Inspector has no hearts, if he has some sort of insect-like circulatory system that we have yet to explain, it solves that. But also, he needs his associates. They are his humanity, literally. And I love that, because he's the Inspector's kind of a space police, a universe cop. And so he's kind of cold and calculating, and that's why he can dispatch the circuit caps with such ease. But he needs Piper, and he needs the Constable, and he needs his humans with him. And I love that, and fans did that.
Thank you, fans.
Next question. We've got some time. Way back there.
On the phone booth, did you guys have the community font for where it says telephone font?
Is that the community font?
Is that the community font?
That wasn't intentional. It was actually, we rented the booth, and that was actually the font that was on the booth.
What was in the animation though?
We are gonna say yes.
Every choice was intentional. Well done. Interesting thing, by the way, that I want to tell you guys, because nobody, I think, has caught it yet. But in the teaser trailer, that very first trailer, the two pieces of music that we used were the first piece was from Galaxy Quest, which was chosen because fans determined that Galaxy Quest and the Inspector are in the same universe. Makes sense, right? I'm waiting for the crossover comic. And then the second piece was from the trailer for the Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. And we chose that because it was it's a cool piece of music, but also it's a movie about an American playing a Brit. And so it made sense that way too. So yeah, we do tons of that stuff. If you look hard enough at Eric and I love putting in little gifts like that, and so.
We have another web series called Robot Ninja and Gay Guy, and we actually have it's a very serious drama.
It's good. And if there are any Buffy fans out there, Nicholas Brendan.
We have Nicholas Brendan in one of our episodes from Buffy, and in that episode, in the background, you'll see the Buffy complete series set that we put there just because of him. And we also made him say a man witch line, which is kind of an homage to Buffy. So yeah, we love little gags like that. We cannot actually claim credit for Community's fonts there, but it would have been great.
Okay, right there.
I was curious if you thought about reaching out to your co-star from the Community clip and doing something with Constable.
I did, actually. I don't know how much I want to say. Basically, his agent didn't want him to get involved with something that had questionable legal grounds, I guess. I mean, I had done my research. I was very sure that this was something that we'd be okay with doing. And, I mean, we would have been okay probably not changing anything, but the fact of the matter is I didn't want to fight with my favorite show. So, if they said, we don't want you to do this, I was like, okay, well, we do want to do the web series, but we'll change it so that it doesn't.
And I will say, when I first wrote season 1, the thing that I sent to Travis, it actually did have Piper in there in the original draft. And then since Travis knew a little bit more about what the show was doing with this character, he then, one of his notes was we need to change the associate to the constable Richey. So we went through and we changed the word, but honestly, like the dialogue didn't really have to change.
If you were here last year, actually, for the illustrated reading, it was Constable Reggie and Blorgons, and then we changed it back to Piper and Circuit Chaps.
So when it became clear, yeah, that Derwin Jordan, right?
Yep.
When it became clear that Derwin Jordan was not going to be joining us, we just changed it back to Piper, and everything was kept the same.
Very well, by the way.
Sigourney Weaver, actually, I don't know if you guys know this, Sigourney Weaver plays lots of characters that were originally written as men, so you are welcome.
And kind of an offshoot of that question is I would, if there's a follow-up there, I would love to work with any of the community people. We have an idea about how we could put Abed into season 2, but the fact of the matter is they treat community so poorly right now. And they are, I mean, with all the delays, if Community keeps going, and I have my doubts, I'm sorry. I love the show so much, but it's maddening. But we won't know if it's continued or not until it is or isn't on the fall schedule. Like, that's kind of how they work. And so the actors will be secured to their contracts, and as such, probably wouldn't be able to be involved in this show until, later. So, yeah, maybe. We're working on it. I mean, I've been in contact, and so they know about the series, and they like it, so that's cool. Way in the back, orange shirt.
Yes.
First.
Are we going to get an Inspector Spacetime holiday special?
I have an idea for a Time Day special. It probably won't be this year. I mean, we've got so much on the docket already. Our idea was to write a comic book sometime, and Eric actually just sent me the first issue of an amazing comic book that we're going to try to produce.
It is, no surprise, a Voyage the Extraordinary backstory.
It's an origin for Voyage, which is it's great, and we do things in the comic that we couldn't possibly do on screen. And we also are thinking of doing. We're gonna. People want replicas of the Optic Pocket Knife. We're gonna talk with Brian Wiega. He designed and built this. We're gonna talk to him a little bit about that in just a bit. But we'll have a Kickstarter for that. We'll also. I would like to do fan-written content. So my idea is to do like a radio show. And yeah, I haven't talked to you about this yet. I have secrets too. No, but it'd be relatively inexpensive. We would pay fans. We'd have a contest. The winning fan would get a few $100s for their script. We would produce it with us and as the voices, and we'd have to pay the big chunk of money would have to go to a sound engineer because we want it to sound good. But it'd be like an hour-long piece of thing that you could listen to, and it should be awesome. I've been reading some of the fan work out there, and it is a lot of it's very impressive. So we've got a lot on our plate. That's all to say. So plus season 2, which hopefully will be done this year, and
one of the ideas with season 2, one of the most consistent complaints that we got for season 1 was that the episodes were so short, and so for season 2 we definitely went bigger episodes, but also kind of more complicated and intricate.
Much more inspectory.
So a lot of our attention is focused on that right now. But it sounds like the holiday special is not out of the question.
Right in front of the yes, hand up. Yep.
Is there any hope we get to end the episode that you might ask Karen Gillan or Michael's to join?
Here's the deal with Karen. Karen, the BBC put out a video of Karen saying she wanted to be an Inspector Spacetime. So you will actually hear today the role that we wrote for Karen. We just have yet to be able to get a hold of her. So tweet her, and she's local now. She just moved here a couple of months ago. So we're trying to get a hold of her, get a script into her hands, because here's the thing. Agents, like talent agents, don't like web content. They want to make Karen into a movie star, which is great. She should be. She's amazing. But in the meantime, do a web series. Blow up the internet a little bit. And it's a good role. And it's just a matter of if she tells her agent she wants to do this, and we're able to pay her a wage for it, then she should be able to do it.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of confusion because there was that video where she talked about how she wanted to be on Unexpected Spacetime, and I think people kind of assumed that she was talking about the web series, and we're not entirely sure that she is even.
Well, no. Yeah, we're not sure she even knows about the web
So,
series.
like, I mean, we want to, like, feel free to get the word to her if you would like.
Okay, so let's move on a little bit I want to introduce you to some of the behind-the-scenes people. Now, Brian, step forward just a little bit. Okay. This is Brian Regan, modeling what we call the Classic 11th. And
the cheapest costume was $40.
and it actually looks really good, Brian. Now I want to talk about costumes though, and we will bring up Amanda, and Amanda built the Piper's costume, and come on up, all the way up. You're our next panelist, Amanda. Come on down. We'll get to Brian in just a second. And you want to pass this down? Amanda, talk a little bit about coming into a project like this, and maybe how we met. We met through Brian, interestingly enough. And you have to talk really close. Like,
hello.
Yeah, there you go. Loud and close.
Okay.
Brian took me to a prop show, like a prop meetup or something.
Yeah, we were at a prop party, and Brian was like, "Oh, I know someone who does costumes," and you guys came up to me, and then somehow I did your costume and yours. That's what I remember.
That's a good story.
That's really all I remember. It was forever ago, though.
Well,
you guys have been working this for a long time.
Yeah, well, the show we made it in May, so it was about April of last year.
Yeah.
Were there challenges in building building a costume like this, especially?
Well, I guess it was difficult to keep it Doctor Who-y, without it being.
Tell us about Piper's costume, because that is very Doctor Who-y. Carrie, stand up for a second.
So you mentioned costume there. Somebody's rocking Piper tape on the show floor today.
I saw her yesterday. Is she in here?
She's not here.
Is she here?
That's really cool. And I also see. Oh my gosh! There's an Inspector Spacetime. Come on up. A new one. So this is a challenge to pull this off.
She skipped out on a short skirt, though. Barely goes past your butt. Wow! She's a lot hotter than you, Brad.
Like that.
Where are the boyish cosplayers?
Okay, so talk a little bit about what Piper's
Piper's
costume.
costume. So there's a lot of secret Doctor Who in it, actually. This is actually the same skirt that Amy Pond wore in an episode. Yeah. So,
Not as well.
Carrie. One
She's
step
got
to the
Converse
right.
shoes, because everyone in Doctor Who has Converse shoes. It's a known fact. She's got a denim jacket, because Rose.
You dyed the shoes
I
yourself,
dyed
right?
the shoes. They are custom dyed. Just because everything that has to do with costumes in Doctor Who is complicated and convoluted. It makes no sense at all. Nothing is off the shelf. So everything's got custom buttons and custom dyed and all kinds of things. She's got strawberries because.
And we had to talk about strawberries, didn't we?
Strawberries. Because Amy Pond wears fruit prints.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. She has lots of pineapple dresses and things. Okay, sure. Strawberries. And I bought all the clothes from the same places that they buy all their clothes. ASOS, which is a British sort of store, sort of like Topshop. So I tried to get clothes. That's my jacket.
And we had we had a talk with Carrie. Carrie bought a prop, a ring to set. But then you don't
I
have
forgot
now.
it today.
That's your necklace though, right? Is that the one that you wore?
I forgot my jewelry, sorry.
Mary supplied all the jewelry and it worked really well. It was all really cute.
I actually brought like a bag of like every piece of jewelry I had. Like I had a bag of rings and a bag of necklaces.
It was great.
And I was like, I just dumped them on the table, and she was like,
That's so sweet.
because I didn't know what my costume was gonna look like at all. Like I had no idea, so I just brought everything.
And you had the story for your ring was that it was an actual being from a world that we'd stopped on.
Oh, yeah. We created a backstory for my ring. Because it was like this sparkly ring, whatever. We decided that it was actually a creature from another world that we had visited. And that they, because it was like the bottom that has like this, gosh, I really thought, I wish I should have brought it, sorry. And it has like this bubble over it, so you're sort of like looking in and you can see the bottom of it. So we decided that like we had taken that from the other world and put it in its own little atmosphere. And like so I was carrying around a little galaxy on my hand.
And then Becky Jordan, who I guess couldn't be here.
She's not here.
Okay, because she just had a baby. Whatever. She built the Inspector's Code, which is, as you know, quite an undertaking. And going from the just trench coat and bowler hat look to something that was more that had to be hand built. We had a lot of fun designing it, and she sent me. This is just some of the images that she sent me when she was designing the coat. I don't know if you can see those. Yay! Love a Mac. This was one of the first ones. It was kind of like big arms and pleated skirt, and all we knew is that he was the kind of the universe police. So we were kind of trying to play with a uniform look, and oh, yay, man. It's this is another one where we wanted to do the double-breasted. We wanted to kind of keep the same inspiration as the double-breasted trench coat, but also make it just different. This one was pink. You can't see it in the drawing. We had we were sending this Smash coat. I was watching an episode of Smash and I saw his coat and I loved how it flowed. I just loved that is actually very similar to what we ended up doing with a coat that just when the inspector turns, it has a lot of yeah, it swooshes. I love that.
It goes from space.
So that was really cool to work with Becky on that, and she was able to send me sketches, and I'd be like, I like this better, I like that better. We definitely like the blue because it's kind of a policey color, and we already knew the pocket knife was red, so red and blue work well together. So that's how that happened.
Eric's costume is actually half Travis's idea. He had this great idea to, what is it? It's a Viking shirt? Yes. It's a Viking shirt. And it was the best idea ever. It looks like it's straight from the year 5 billion.
Because we needed something futuristic-y, and but also boyish. I mean, we struggled with boyish a little bit.
Yeah, there were some interesting conversations. I think one of the first conversations that I was in on, and I think this was mostly our director's suggestion, and it didn't end up working out, which I'm actually grateful for. They were talking about like really focusing on the boyishness of it. Like, was it like having shorts and like a striped t-shirt, like that kind of thing?
Almost like he didn't know how to dress himself. So right, it was we were playing. Was that you I was talking to about that?
That was me.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have been anyone else. And
Let's just order all his clothes a little too big. But his hips look smaller. And he worked out great, though. Oh, yeah. Do you know what those are? No. Oh, they're like the slidey things from hoodies. So I use those as cufflinks. They have springs on them. They do nothing. Very interactive. Yes.
And so we knew we wanted him to be kind of the lab coat, like scientific-y, because initially in the episode you don't know if he's the villain. Like we wanted the audience to be like, is he really the villain? This guy? Like what Piper was thinking. And so
The goggles, which you can see over there.
yeah, the goggles were donated by a I can't remember the Aradelli Studios. I mean, he's a prop maker, and he was actually doing hand me one of the guns. He was doing a Kickstarter campaign because he had made a really cool steampunk pistol, and then was making a mold of it for people. And so I contacted him and said, "Hey, we're looking for a steampunk gun for our villain to use in the web series. Could we, would you like to donate a gun?" And he said yes. And so we did. And then all we did is in the episode you can see that we added little glow sticks because these little slots are perfect for those little half-inch glow sticks. And so we did that to make them look even cooler. Cool. Let's move on a little bit because we're running short on time. Unless
I think that's pretty much it.
and we have questions about costuming.
What about the circuit chaps?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Is Malachi here?
Yes.
Oh, hey, Malachi, come on up here. Malachi and his wife, Christina, there you are. They built the circuit chap.
I was wondering, do you have the original drawing that I sent you? Did you save that?
Under the circuit chaps folder, probably.
Because I unfortunately, in this case, I built this rather fast, but he kept bugging me. He was like, "I need a picture." So I was like, "Okay," and I drew this up in the afternoon to send it in. So give you a rough idea. Unfortunately, as often happens between the drawing and the actual piece, yeah, my chest is twice that size, and the legs and such. It's almost anime because it's too tall compared to what the final piece was. But, sorry. What do you?
Sorry, lady.
Okay, I'm mumbling. How about that?
I did give Malachi one piece of direction, which was on the head. We did an episode of Robot Ninja and Gay Guy where Gay Guy built a robot costume. Because in our show, Robot looks human, and so Gay Guy builds him a robot costume so that he can look robot-y on Halloween. And the head is basically that, and I told Malachi to use that as the reference for the head. And but other than that, it was his to do with as he pleased.
And the fun part was that he kept talking about circuit chap. And my first version of this, I actually wanted him to have a bowler hat with a cane. And it was like, no, we can't do that. The head's got to be what the head is. So I lost that whole thing, but I saved the bow tie.
Still has a bow tie.
Which is, some people notice, some people don't. I mean, Travis noticed it instantly, and he was like, "I love the bow tie." So, essentially, the only, command that I got was we wanted it very like the old Doctor Who, very made on the cheap. So yeah, essentially the thing is made of foam core, those cardboard tubes that you find at the center. I was working at a chocolate factory, and they were using a lot of plastic, and they had these large cardboard tubes, and I was just slicing those in half. That's a lot of the detailing on the side, and then I make a lot of stuff out of foam. So yeah, there's pieces of foam for like the waist and I think the shoulders and things of that nature. So it was sort of one of those kludges you just kind of throw together, but surprisingly it took a lot longer than I thought it would take to build this.
Everything was down to the wire. I put on this coat the day we shot our first day of shooting. I didn't know if it was going to fit, and but luckily, I mean, Becky was so good; she was able to just off of measurements that I took. And who measures themselves? Well.
A fun little thing to note, the eyes are actually Play-Doh container lids. And this is the worst part. The way that some of these stores work is you never get the thing you want when you want it. So I literally went to like 3 different stores trying to find just red and green containers. Ultimately, I had to go to Walmart and buy their mega pack of like 36 of these things just so I could get 2 lids. Yeah, so but that is something that happens a lot because I used to do props in the industry, and yeah, I can't tell you how many times we've run in a panic and bought like the thing we didn't need just so we get one little part off of it. So.
And the mouth is actually something we discovered for Robot Ninja and Gay Guy, so we reused it here. Is an app called Mouth Off. Yeah. And it talks and so there's a robot mouth in there, so we use that. If you look at the show really closely, one of the circuit chaps has the wrong mouth. And we didn't notice it in time, because what we did is we used one Circuit Chap costume and replicated it 4 times. And but one time he has a monster mouth, which is kind of funny. So.
Any questions?
What's that?
It's the variant action figure.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's the one that's the most valuable.
I actually did toy about the idea of making an action figure of this, but I was like, I don't know.
Do it.
Oh, really? I don't know. Show of hands. How many people would actually? Oh, wow.
Oh, so there's no.
I guess, honey, that's what we're doing when we get home.
Right?
Wow.
Awesome.
Should we, since we're making that one, should we make one of Piper too?
And that's all we need. The inspector, Piper, and the Circuit Chap. I think that's all.
We've got to do a box set then, right?
Awesome. Any other questions for about Circuit Chap building? Or these guys are so skilled. If you see them around the convention, talk them up, because
my wife actually helped quite a bit, and I know she's seldom.
Silver for.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
and they were out.
Silver
Like,
on this.
we were sitting there, and this was just for one day of shooting, and they were out there just painting of the last minute, everything putting together. It was amazing.
So, yeah, we definitely brought it to set right in the middle of shooting. We're like, uh-oh.
It was wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome, guys. I hope that I'm going to fall for season 2.
Yeah, well, we have the Circuit Chaps do make an appearance, a brief appearance in season 2, and as well as a whole slew of other villains. We've got the Tarvis, we've got the Snarling Lions, we've got the who else? The Invisibleaders, the Contrary Canaries, which are just little birds that disagree with everything. And so we've got a whole bunch of stuff that we're throwing into season 2. Again, we wanted to make it bigger and broader for you guys. So, okay, let's move on to we're running amazingly. We're really cooking here. I want to talk about props a little bit. So we're going to bring up Brian. We go. Brian. I met Brian here last year. Because he helped restore the 8th Doctor's TARDIS console from the movie. Which is here. So check that. And you've improved it again for this year.
Yes, now it's I've got one of those universal sonic screwdriver remotes, and if I can get it to work, I can control the lights on it.
It's amazing. And there's a video that I did last year of the inspector flying the TARDIS.
Yeah, you can use one of my rubbish jokes in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that whole red. Oh, it's blue. No, it's still blue.
What is it doing?
No, it's still blue.
It's still blue. Yeah, because it didn't change colors. So Brian, you tell the story about how you came to build the most amazing working prop I have ever seen. You guys, who's been to like Star Trek conventions? And you see a phaser, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's a phaser, huh? But this thing is as cool up close as it looks on screen, and that's all due to this guy. So,
well, that's what it was. Is I actually I've been working on some sonic screwdrivers, and the first year that the show came back with Chris Eccleston, the sonic screwdriver, you could only shoot it from one side because the other side looked really awful. And so that they don't have it in any of the replicas. There's this huge slot and exposed wiring, and it just looks like something that somebody kludged together. So I knew that this was kind of a show where everybody's doing everything really, really fast. They're going to shoot the entire 30-minute series in 4 days. And so I thought, well, if this is going to look good, it's got to look good from every angle, because they're not going to reshoot it for the widget. So I spent weeks in SolidWorks taking the 3D model, spinning it around, and like, oh, no, that doesn't look good enough, and adding more and more details. And when we finally got around to building the thing, it's 80 parts. It's something this size, which was ridiculous. But basically, yes, so at that Replica Prop Forum meeting where I introduced Travis to Becky and Amanda and Malachi, who became the rest of the art team, I brought a box full of tools from my garage, and we played around with all of them. And the thing that Travis liked were this Allen key set that I actually talked to the people who molded them, and they were cool enough to send us some copies of the grips so that we didn't have to go to Home Depot and spend $20 for a tool set to get one set of grips, which was really nice of them. And then Travis had the idea of, well, what if we have a little piece that flips out and lights up, like so. And I said, well, we've got to make it spring-loaded, because that's what Matt Smith is doing with his Sonic, is, you know, he flicks it out, and we've got to have something cool like that. I wish I'd never said that. I spent 3 hours the night before the shoot picking the set of springs to make this actually flip and not look limp.
Nobody likes this limp screen.
No, you can't have a limp optic pocket knife. But yeah, and then it was just a case of finding stuff at my office. I design film scanners and film recorders for movie studios. So we have lots and lots of bits and pieces, and the metal bits on the top here and on the bottom are all just stock from my office that I put on the middle and cut down so they look a little more sciencey. Now, that shot over there is a particular favorite of mine, the one that just left. Fortunately, we have a time machine. That's my little widget next to Nick Robato's sonic screwdriver that he built for Doctor Who, and he liked mine better. Like comment on this year. So just goes to show.
And this is the things that Brian was sending me in an email. He would send me like a little 3D render, and at one point,
what do you think?
Yeah, and I was just going gaga. At one point, he sends me this, which is a 3D model.
Right. Well, that's what
I'm looking at it from every angle. I mean, how cool is that? and I love, like, you can't see quite from this angle, but even the screen has little etchings.
Well, yeah, because that's the file I sent to the laser cutter to make the actual piece.
Oh, wow. Well,
so, yeah, I just made it in 3D once, then I don't have to make it twice.
Yeah, so it's brilliant. I was hoping to premiere an optic pocket knife commercial that we're working on here, but it's not done yet. We've got some guys up in Portland working on the video part of it, and so it's going to be very exciting. We'll put that. You'll see that when we do the Kickstarter for replicas.
Right. Show of hands. Who would like an optic pocket knife? Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
But the idea that we're doing is we're going to have several different versions for different budgets. So we'll have like a more plastic molded version, but we'll still have the sound effects on it.
Yes, actually, wait. I have the prototype here.
Oh, you can place it.
Not of the actual molding. A friend of mine that kind of inspired me to start this, because he wanted an optic pocket knife. I said, no, it takes me a week. I'll make a run eventually. And he said, no, I really want one, and I know how to mold. So I said, okay, you're hired. So he's working on molding, setting up an entire molding studio for all of the really expensive parts. His name's Michael Coward. He's on the East Coast. So we're making less expensive versions that we're trying to price it right around where a sonic screwdriver toy would be. So around like $50, $75. You get a plastic version with some laser cut parts like the screen that lights up and a laser pointer in it and all that, and sounds. And so Travis got me the original production sounds. So here's the ray gun. And here's the opening and closing noise. And because 8-bit music is so amazing, here's the theme song. Oh, sorry, that's number 2. 4. No, sorry, that's the booth. That's the booth lining. It's got to be this one.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're working on it. But those will be coming up. We're going to do a Kickstarter to pay back Michael for the over $1,000 that he's invested on all the molding equipment out of pocket. And we'll have the molded versions, and then we'll have the hero props that are completely like this with all of the really expensive CNC machining. And the cheap ones that would be toys, $50, $75 depending on what you want, sounds or not. And then for the superhero versions, you can either have a sound clip or the super bright LED, but the battery literally is half the size of the device, so you can have both. But those will probably be around like $200, which is, we're going to be cutting down the cost a lot because that's basically...
that's the idea of the Kickstarter, is that you pre-order something, but it helps us bring the cost down and become available.
Well, and then because $200 was less than the material cost for each of these.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you because we're gonna have to move along. But I do the theme song brings us in a wonderful segue to Brian Giovanni.
Yes,
who wrote the entire soundtrack, composed all the music. Come on up, Brian. Brian's been working with me for a long time. He did the music for Robot Ninja Guy and also plays Ninja. And he wrote the entire soundtrack for this show, but it did so. I mean, those of you who were here last year know that he worked backwards from the last note that you see on the community clip, because you hear the last note of the theme song before you see Inspector Spacetime, and Brian worked backwards from that to write the theme song that you hear in the show now.
It was very delightful formula. In that I thought, okay, well, that's for musically minded people here. So, okay, well, that last note in Community is a G major chord. So obviously the song is in the key of G. However, all the Doctor Who themes are in a minor key. So I thought, okay, well, perhaps then the Dr. Spacetime theme is in G minor then. So I kind of just made that formula switch and then just resolved it from a minor to a major key after that. So it was a fun little trick to work backwards and think, well, how would have this existed in that time? And just kind of went backwards from there.
So one thing that Brian, and we'll talk a little bit about the process, but one thing that Brian wanted to do was have a CD, and one of the perks for donors was that we were going to give them the soundtrack. But Brian didn't want to just send them the soundtrack as it appears, just lifted from the movie, because there's lots of dead air, there's lots of blanks where nothing's happening, it's dialogue, or they're very short bits of music. So Brian wanted to expand those themes that he had created, like little bits of, so that Piper gets a whole song for Piper's theme, or boy, never before heard. Yeah. So hold up your.
Piper has a theme. The Circuit Chaps have a theme. The Spectre has a theme, and that's about it. Now, Boyish also has his theme song. So what we have here is 30+ minutes of music
for a 20-minute series. And so
good luck figuring out that equation.
Wait, let me just say, Brian, real quick. He was up until he didn't get any sleep last night because he was up making copies of. It was
down to the wire.
Basically burning the CDs, but this gives me tingles. It is the most gorgeous thing I ever would have expected to see. It's all art. It's got a beautiful back. Brian's autograph. We're going to give one of these away at the end of the panel, and then the others are. He has only 20, and he's going to sell them like $20 a piece. And
and you can hear music before that's never been heard. When I was working on these themes, I thought, okay, well, we have Circuit Chaps, we have Boyish, we have these conversations, all these musical motifs, popped into my head. And I thought, okay, well, let's catalog all of these. And I go, all right, now let's do the Circuit Chaps scene. Oh, it's 5 seconds long. And I'm like, well, but I had this epic score that I wanted to do. So this gave me a chance to really just flesh out everything so that it takes you beyond what you see in the series, and it takes you on more of a expanded, extrapolated musical journey, if you will.
Are there any musical people out there? Yeah. You guys amaze me. I am so astounded working with Brian on this. It's just incredible.
Well, and it was interesting too. When this whole thing first exploded, I was not the first to come up with a theme song. He said, already like 3 of these have popped up on YouTube in a few days. So you might want to look in it. It's like, wow, there already are, And so I looked at what the other people were doing. They were very reminiscent of the other show, and so when my own particular choice was to make it more of a standard orchestral and have just very unique sci-fi elements kind of dropping it in, so that when those moments are highlighted, it really takes you into that into that feeling. Particularly with yours, boy.
Does anybody have any questions? Because I have a question for him, but I want you guys to get first crack.
Yeah.
So obviously you didn't go and have an actual orchestra play that. What virtual instruments are you using?
Actual orchestra.
You actually did.
No. I work in a MIDI keyboard and in GarageBand and Logic, and
like East West or Vienna Symphonic Library, or
it's all the GarageBand library. Yes.
Oh, cool.
But it's fun. It's amazing how you can customize so many things. Like, okay, well, here's a standard, string set. Here's a standard cello. Here's a standard violin and clarinet and all this stuff. And there's so many cool. If you just play with those programs and think about how many ways you can use, equalizers and other filters to really make these awesome sci-fi sounds, but still retain that orchestral, feel to it. It's amazing what you come up with just by, just me sitting down and just losing hours figuring stuff out. So.
Anybody else? Yeah, CJ.
Can we hear any of the music?
Do I have any? I don't think I have any of it right now. If only I had a CD player on my computer.
Oh, there was some device.
Oh man.
We don't actually have time right now, but you heard it in the show, in the series, and it's amazing.
Absolutely. And the one thing is, my theme song is no more official than anybody else that made a theme song. Mine just happens to be the one that got into the web series because I know Travis. But the beautiful thing is that everything and nothing is canon. So any story you come up with that is independent of this is still true. Any theme song or musical or artistic creation you come up with that's beyond this is still just as unique as the people who make it. So.
If you do a Snarling Lions theme, let me know. I'd love to hear something like that. Or Brian actually includes a 1974 version of the Inspector Spacetime on the CD. And
it was the fourth Inspector. I forget who that was.
Yeah,
Bernard Fox, maybe.
Bernard Fox, maybe.
He was the second.
So it's brilliant. Now, tell me. Say a little bit about. Am I easy to work with?
Yeah, well, it's been fun, guys. Enjoy it. Absolutely. Travis and I have worked with each other for a long time and really trust each other's artistic sensibility. So, we have our own strengths. We rely on what we're good at and have that room to grow.
I'm good at having people who are much better at things than me do things.
Well, and you didn't micromanage anything. It's like, okay, we need, here's the footage. You've got your program, so just go and work with it. And I had all the freedom in the world to just come up with stuff, and luckily he liked what I could do.
Yeah, Brian and I have actually been roommates now for a year, and so
very easy with the workflow.
In the course of this, he shouted at me from the other room, "Hey, come and listen to this." And I'd come in, and I'd be like, and I remember, and sometimes it would be down to just the sound of an instrument. I'd be like, "Can you do a different instrument there?" Or we need this to go up instead of down, or stuff little. But I gave him all the latitude in the world, and he just came up with amazing things that just astound me. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming out and supporting us.
All right, we're gonna move forward. I want to introduce real quick Chaz in the corner there. Chaz was with me last year. Chaz produced all the behind-the-scenes videos. So if you go onto the channel and look at, he did 6 episodes of behind-the-scenes content, and he produced that. I just told him, hey, we need something, and he wrangled. He had camera ops, and he took the footage and he edited it, and at the same time he was also doing script supervising. So he is kind of an amazing person, and. Yeah, he was also standing for the Inspector 1.2. So well done, Chaz. Thank you. He's I'm actually, the cool thing about Chaz, and I love this. He was a fan of my stuff online when he lived in Chicago, and he moved out here, got contacted me and said, "Hey, if you need help with something, let me know." And I brought him to help on just a PA or something, like something really.
I think the
easy.
first thing was an extra job.
Yeah, maybe just
extra
yeah,
in
you
one
could
of your
be an
videos.
extra in a sketch. But he worked his way because he was just very hardworking, great attention to detail, and he worked his way. And now he is going to be the associate producer of all of our sketch content on the channel. And so he's doing all that. I also want to bring, we should bring Helena up here because this is Helena Santos Levy. Levy.
Today I'm Helena Antos Levi.
That's my bad.
This is Helena Antos Levi. Helena I've known Helena for several years. My very first video project was a YouTube collaboration called The Newscast, where we documented 5 entertainers' years. So it was the first group blogging project on YouTube, and it was just 5 people doing vlogs documenting their attempts to make careers for themselves in entertainment. And I did a year with me and 4 other people, and then we had enough of a fan base where we did a second year. And Eric, that's kind of how I first became aware that he was such a good writer, was he did the second year, and Helena also did the second year. And so we have since then, back in that started in 2008.
19. Whoa.
Just started in 2008, sorry. So since then we've been wanting to work together. So Helen is coming on board as a producer for the second season, and also she is playing Annabelle, who you'll hear in just a bit. So Helena, real quick, why did you want to be a part of this?
Why not?
I have no.
I've known these guys for years now, and I've always wanted to work with them. Travis's quality of everything he does is so high, and there's always so much passion that goes behind everything. And Eric's writing is like ridiculously amazing. Season 2 is unreal. You guys are going to be so excited about it. It's very, very well written. And obviously, Doctor Who. Obviously, watching Travis on Community, like the whole thing, how everything happened and how the fans completely rallied behind this project, and like just Inspector Spacetime, the idea of this person was so inspiring to me, and I feel honored that Travis asked me to be a part of it. So we're really hoping to do something pretty amazing in season 2.
Helena rocks so hard. She is one of the hardest working actresses I've ever met, and it's going to be very exciting. Okay, those of you who are going to be part of the reading, come on up. If we can lower the lights, I want to show you guys a special little thing. I am a big fan of Back to the Future. It is, in addition to being one of just a perfect movie, it's the time travel works. I'm just talking about part 1. Don't get me started. But also it holds up. And the Back to the Future, when they were first coming out, all of them, if you can, they did a teaser trailer. And so I wanted to do a little mashup of the teaser trailer. And here it is.
How far are you going?
Oh, about 3,000 million years. That tickles me. A lot of you probably don't even get the reference. Probably not, but you know, it's basically we tried to do a shot-for-shot take on that, and we even used the actual audio track from the trailer and just matched it up. So, yes. So that'll be actually put out on online. We want to fine-tune it, do some color correction and stuff, but I did want to give you guys a first look. And it'll be online probably next week on the new channel. By the way, we had to move channels. Those of you who don't know, if you're looking, look for us over on the Artists, we had to move to the Travis Richey channel on YouTube, which should be easy to remember. But that's where we're putting out all the new stuff. So make sure you go subscribe there and follow us. And that is the first episode of Season 2. Now, we just launched a Kickstarter campaign for, we're trying to raise $10,000, which is a lot less than we were trying to raise before, but just for the prequel episode for Season 2, which is where you will see what happened to Piper. And it's very exciting. All right, we have a few minutes left. Yes, we do. We're good. Oh, we're so good. Hand me the fez, please. Does anybody not have a raffle ticket? Real quick, we'll.
How dare you sneak?
All right, let's give away first. What do you think? The CD? That seems like the coolest thing to me because it's so exclusive.
There you go. Oh, half of one's gone.
Faster. Did anybody have any questions? Keep your hands up. No, that's confusing. Put your hands down if you have a question. Oh gosh, so many. Just shout out a question if you have one.
Are you planning on making an original first episode from the 60s?
Well, that really depends on if Christopher Lee is available. Is he?
In the 60s.
It's probably not. It's weird because right now I'm so focused on, as an actor first, I'm focused on producing stuff that I'm acting in, and but I would love to at some point expand the universe to a point where I'm, producing things. Eventually the Inspector will metamorphose into someone else, and we'll have to have a 12th Inspector. So who knows what that will be like. But until then, we have so much in the works for this character in this franchise. It's very exciting, and I love working with the fans and developing content and doing that. So I think we've got plenty to do with the 11th Inspector yet. Initially, we have a 4-season plan for this. Like that's what we've got kind of in our minds right now, and then of course after that we can do more and more and more. So how are we doing?
We got everybody.
Okay, great. Brian Giovanni, would you draw the first, since it's your CD, we're going to be giving away?
Or rather, it's going to be one of yours.
Okay, we don't have that much time. Just draw one. All right. If your ticket says 8, 2, I hate this when people do that, don't you? 820859. Right here, awesome. All right, we have let's do the booth earrings because I love those.
Christina made these. Christina Keller, the co-creator of the Circuit Chats. There's a few more. She's got a booth in the art show.
And there's blue ones too that I got from you.
If.
Not here.
So the booth earrings are going.
Check out who's rocking some here.
Ooh. Eric, draw a ticket. Oh. 820886. Oh, perfect! Yeah! Was anybody else scared there was going to be a guy? I was like, the only one. Cool, perfect. What next? Let's do the design script because that's it's underneath the there. So what you're gonna get is that what is up front is an 8.5 by 11 Inspector portrait of the 11th Inspector, and then behind that is the script signed by me and Eric, and that's of season 1.
And Carrie.
820-895. All right, let's do the, all right, you want to do posters next, or Brian Wiga donated some actual Doctor Who props.
Well, these were...
Not actual, but...
These were in the backyard of Boyish's laboratory.
So these were used in the show. If you spot them, they were in Boyish's laboratory. So let's do, you want to do that first?
I'm not a redhead this time.
Let's do the TARDIS, we'll do the TARDIS first.
Okay. 820-824.
Oh, yay! Okay, fine.
And for the Sonic, 820-768.
Yay! All right, we're gonna do the posters. So, Carrie, if you'd like to, we'll do the. This is the official series poster signed by the cast.
820-963.
And we'll do, yeah, so we'll do Day of the Blorgons. This is by Johnny Eveson, the same artist.
820-994.
May have left. All right, pick another one.
What if they just felt an inexplicable pain of regret? Whatever they are.
821-067.
And the original Inspector Spacetime poster.
820-899. All right.
Okay.
820-954.
Awesome. Wonderful costume. And I think that's all we've got. Yeah, that's all. Because I can't give away the blasters. Anybody can have a postcard. I can't. You can grab a postcard and take a look at some of the stuff. What?
The best cosplayer? Here.
Oh, you know what? No, you know what? I've got another script. I have to give. Sorry, I think hands down the female inspector and the Piper get scripts. So come on. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And thank you guys so much for coming. We got to wrap it up and get out of here. I'm going to have a table out there somewhere. I don't know where. But come and see me, pull me aside and chat. Hugs are good.
Before you go, say hi, Piper.
Thank you, everyone. Love you guys.